My brothers and sisters, how many times have you bent over backwards for people, given them your time, your energy, your love, only to be left feeling empty, ignored, or even disrespected? You keep chasing their approval, hoping one day they will see your worth. But the reality is, the more you chase people, the further away you drift from yourself, and worse, you drift away from Allah. Today, I want to share with you 6 powerful reminders that will free your heart from the prison of people's approval and bring it back to the one who truly values you. My brothers and sisters, let me ask you a question. If I gave you a gold coin and someone in the street told you this is worthless, would that change the value of the coin? Of course not. You know what it's made of. You know it's pure. Their opinion doesn't change the reality. But here's the problem. Many of us treat ourselves like we're made of cheap material. We hear one person's insult, one person's rejection, and we start believing we're worth less than we actually are. Why? Because we've given people the power to decide our value. And here's the reality. People are inconsistent. One day they will love you, the next day they will forget you. One day they will praise you in public, the next day they might criticize you behind your back. And sometimes you did nothing wrong, they just changed how they feel. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're dealing with jealousy. Maybe they misunderstood you. But because you've placed your worth in their hands, their moods become your moods. That's not how a believer should live. Allah did not create you to be a prisoner of someone else's opinion. Allah created you with a purpose, with dignity, with honor. He says that He has honored the children of Adam. That means from the moment you were born, you had value before anyone knew your name, before anyone approved of you. And here's something important to remember. People often value you for what you can give them. They like you when you benefit them, when you make them feel good, when you do things for them. But Allah values you even when you have nothing to offer except a sincere heart. Even when you are broken, even when you have failed, if you turn to Him, He says He will forgive you, He will raise you, He will love you. Now ask yourself, whose opinion should matter more? Someone who changes their mind about you every week, or the one who knows your heart better than you know it yourself? When your worth comes from Allah, you walk differently. You're not desperate for likes, for praise, for constant attention. You are steady, you are calm. You know that even if the whole world turns against you, you are still valuable in the sight of your Creator. And remember this, the same people who doubt you today may praise you tomorrow. The same ones who put you down now might come asking for your help later. Do not let their changing opinions control your self-worth. Anchor yourself in Allah's love, because that is the only thing that does not change. So the next time you feel invisible, the next time someone makes you feel small, I want you to remind yourself they didn't create you, they didn't write your destiny, and they don't get to decide your value. Your worth is already written by Allah, and He has called you honored. Hold on to that truth and you will never lose yourself to people's opinions again. I want you to imagine this. You're running down a road, trying to catch someone. You keep calling out to them, but they don't slow down. They don't even look back. You run faster. You trip. You scrape your knees. You get tired. But you think to yourself, if I just keep going, maybe they will stop. Maybe they will see me. Maybe they will value me. Some of us have been running like that for years. Not on a physical road, but in life. We've been chasing people who have no intention of slowing down for us. We keep giving them chances. We keep proving ourselves. We keep making excuses for them. But the truth is, the more you run after them, the more of yourself you lose along the way. You lose your peace. You lose your dignity. You lose your boundaries. And sometimes you lose your connection with Allah. Why? Because when we are desperate to keep someone in our lives, we start to compromise. You might start ignoring the wrong things they do because you don't want to upset them. You might start changing who you are just to be accepted. You might even start doing things that go against your faith because you're afraid they will leave. But here's the truth: if someone requires you to sacrifice your values, your faith, or your peace of mind just to keep them close, they are not a blessing, they are a test. Look at how Allah teaches us to value ourselves. You are not meant to be a beggar for attention or love. You are not meant to chase after those who keep walking away from you. In fact, sometimes the more you chase them, the less they respect you, because people don't value what is too easily available. Let me tell you a painful reality: the people you are chasing might not even notice how much you are giving up for them. Or worse, they might notice, but they simply don't care. And every time you lower your standards for them, you are sending a message: you can treat me this way and I will still be here. But Allah wants better for you. He wants you to stand with dignity, to hold your boundaries, to know your worth. If someone truly belongs in your life, they will meet you halfway. They will value you without you having to beg for it. They will not require you to shrink yourself to fit into their small definition of who you should be. And remember this: sometimes Allah allows certain people to ignore you, reject you, or even walk away, because He knows that if they stayed, they would take you further and further away from who you really are and from where you are supposed to be. Losing them might feel painful, but losing yourself is far worse. So the next time you feel that urge to run after someone who's walking away, stop and ask yourself: if I have to chase them, do they really want to be here? And in chasing them, who am I becoming? Because no person is worth losing yourself for. And if you ever have to choose between keeping someone and keeping your dignity, choose your dignity every single time. My brothers and sisters, one of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that being a good Muslim means we must give everyone unlimited access to our time, our mind, our heart, and our energy. We think kindness means being available for everyone, saying yes to every request, answering every phone call, replying to every message instantly, and letting anyone into our life just because they want to be there. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. Islam teaches kindness, yes, but Islam also teaches wisdom. And wisdom means knowing who to let close and who to keep at a distance. Not everyone who smiles at you wants good for you. Not everyone who praises you in front of others will protect you when you are not in the room. Some people only come to they take your energy, they take your time, they take your ideas, they take your peace, but they give back nothing except stress, gossip, or doubt. If you leave your doors open to everyone, don't be surprised when thieves come in. Thieves don't always steal your money. Sometimes they steal your joy, your faith, your focus, your confidence. And the worst part, many times they don't even know they're doing it, but the damage is still real. Look at the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace be upon him, interacted with people. He was kind to everyone, but he didn't give everyone the same level of access to his life. He had close companions who were trustworthy, sincere, and loyal. He also had others whom he kept at a distance, not out of hatred, but out of wisdom and protection. You need to do the same. Start paying attention to how you feel after you spend time with someone. Do you feel encouraged, or do you feel drained? Do you feel closer to Allah, or do you feel further away? If every conversation with them leaves you doubtful, negative, or sinful, that's a sign. You don't need to hate them, but you also don't need to give them front row seats in your life. There's a saying: don't let people sit in your heart who only come with dirty shoes. Your heart is a sacred space. It's where your intentions live, where your love for Allah grows. If you keep letting the wrong people step in carelessly, they will trample over everything you've been building. And here's the truth: setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. You can love people from a distance. You can make dua for them without letting them drain you. You can be polite without making yourself constantly available. If someone constantly disrespects your values, mocks your faith, or manipulates your kindness, Islam does not require you to keep letting them in. In fact, protecting your iman sometimes means limiting your exposure to people who pull you away from Allah. And I know this is hard. Some of the people you need to limit might be family, old friends, or people you once trusted deeply. But the reality is, you are responsible for guarding the gift. Allah gave you your heart, your mind, your faith. If someone repeatedly tries to damage it, you must build a door and you must decide who gets the key. My brothers and sisters, not everyone deserves access to you. Access to your heart should be earned through sincerity, trustworthiness, and a shared commitment to pleasing Allah. If someone cannot respect those conditions, it is not cruelty to protect yourself, it is obedience to Allah, and it is wisdom for your own peace. I want you to stop and think for a moment. Whose approval matters to you most? If you're being honest, for many of us, it's not Allah first, it's people. We want people to like us. We want them to speak well of us. We want them to think we are kind, generous, funny, beautiful, successful. And there's nothing wrong with wanting good relationships. But here's where the danger comes in. When pleasing people becomes more important than pleasing Allah. This is a slippery road and many people walk down it without even realizing. It starts small. Someone you like or someone you want to impress invites you to an event where there's something clearly haram. You know it's wrong, but you say to yourself, it's just this once, I don't want them to think I'm boring or judgmental. So you go, or maybe someone makes a joke about your deen, and instead of speaking up, you laugh along because you don't want to seem too religious. Every time you choose their comfort over Allah's pleasure, you take a step away from your Creator. And here's the thing, people will still leave you eventually. They might still criticize you later. They might even forget everything you did for them. But Allah never forgets anything good or bad. Let me share a truth that stings. If you sacrifice your principles to keep someone in your life, you will eventually lose both. You will lose your connection to Allah and you will lose the person too. Because someone who truly loves and respects you will never demand that you disobey Allah to prove it. We have examples in our history, people who stood alone because they refused to compromise their faith. Think of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam wassalam, who stood against his whole community, even his own father, because he would not place anyone above Allah. Imagine if he had chosen to please people instead. He would have kept their company, but he would have lost the company of Allah. My brothers and sisters, you and I will be tested in this. There will be moments when you have to choose between being liked by people and being loved by Allah. Between fitting in with the crowd or standing with your principles. Between being invited to every gathering or being able to stand before Allah on the day of judgment with a clean heart. Remember this, the people you fear upsetting now will not be there to save you when you stand before Allah. Their opinion will mean nothing on that day. The only thing that will matter is, did you obey your Creator or did you put people above Him? And please don't misunderstand, Islam teaches us to be kind, respectful and gentle with others, but it does not teach us to worship their approval. The line is crossed when their pleasure starts to compete with Allah's pleasure. If they push you to compromise your values, your modesty, your honesty or your ibadah, that's when you step back respectfully but firmly. At the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, ask yourself this question. If Allah is pleased with me but the world is not, am I okay with that? Because if the answer is yes, you have freed yourself from the chains of people's opinions. But if the answer is no, then you have some work to do in your heart. And that work starts with shifting your focus back to the one who created you, sustains you, and will judge you, not the people who will forget you as soon as they move on with their lives. And here's something we all need to understand, my brothers and sisters. When you put Allah first, you are not losing people, you are losing the wrong people. Yes, it hurts when someone distances themselves because you refuse to compromise your faith. Yes, it's painful when friends stop inviting you because you no longer participate in things that displease Allah. But that pain is temporary and it's a sign of something greater. Allah is clearing your path. Think about it. How can Allah bring the right people into your life if the wrong ones are still taking up all the space? How can He send you company that will strengthen your iman when you're still clinging to company that weakens it? Sometimes we are asking Allah for better friends, better influences, better opportunities, but we're too afraid to let go of the harmful ones that we already have. And it's not just about friendships. This applies to relationships, business partners, even family interactions. If someone expects you to break Allah's laws just to keep their approval, you are standing at a crossroads. One road is short-term comfort with long-term regret. The other road might be lonely for a while, but it ends with Allah's pleasure, and that is the only approval worth having. I know it's not easy. You might feel isolated at first. You might feel like you're walking alone, but remember, you are never truly alone when you walk in obedience to Allah. Every step you take away from disobedience is a step toward His protection, His mercy, and His guidance. And here's something powerful: when you choose Allah over people, you might lose a few faces in your life, but you gain His help in ways you never imagined. Doors open that you didn't even knock on. People come into your life who inspire you, who make you want to pray more, who make you want to be a better believer. And that's when you realize the ones you lost were never worth keeping if it meant losing Allah. So, my brothers and sisters, please remember this. The real danger is not losing people. The real danger is losing yourself. And worse, losing Allah's pleasure. If you have to let someone go to keep your iman intact, do it. You will thank yourself on the day when everyone else's approval means nothing and only Allah's approval matters. And sometimes it's not even about choosing between people and Allah in a clear, obvious way. Sometimes it's subtle. It's in the tiny daily decisions you make. You compromise your prayer times because you don't want to seem too rigid at work. You water down your beliefs in a conversation so people won't label you. You laugh at things you know you shouldn't laugh at because you don't want to look different. It happens quietly, almost without you noticing, and before you realize, you've built a habit of putting people's comfort ahead of Allah's commands. This is how the heart slowly changes, not with one big act of disobedience, but with small, repeated compromises that chip away at your principles. You see, Allah doesn't just look at the big moments of sacrifice. He looks at the small moments where you had a choice to please Him or to please people, and you chose Him. Those are the moments that shape your heart, that strengthen your faith, that make you unshakable. The danger of putting people above Allah is not only that you risk disobeying Him, it's that you start training your heart to fear the wrong authority. Instead of fearing the one who controls your life, your death, your rizq, your future, you start fearing the opinions of people who have no power over you at all. And here's the irony: the same people you are trying so hard to please will move on. They'll find someone else to admire, someone else to criticize, someone else to invite to their gatherings. People's attention is temporary. Allah's attention is eternal. Why chase what won't last at the cost of what will? Let me give you an example. Imagine you're working for a company and your boss gives you clear instructions. But instead of following them, you start taking orders from the office cleaner because you're afraid they'll be upset with you. Does that make any sense? The cleaner doesn't sign your paycheck. They can't promote you. They can't fire you. You're risking your actual job for someone who has no authority over your future in that role. That's exactly what it's like when we obey people over Allah. And here's what I want you to remember: when you prioritize Allah, some people might walk away. That's okay. Not everyone can handle the light you carry when you live for Him. Some will be intimidated by it, others will be offended by it, and some will simply drift away. But those who stay, Those who respect you more for your principles, those are the people worth keeping. Because in the end, my brothers and sisters, the day of judgment will be a day when you stand completely alone in front of Allah. Not one of those people whose approval you chased will stand beside you to defend your choices. On that day, you will be grateful for every single moment you chose His pleasure over theirs. My brothers and sisters, letting go is one of the hardest things we ever have to do. It feels like losing. It feels like weakness. It feels like giving up on something we've worked so hard to keep. But sometimes letting go is not losing. Letting go is winning. It's making space for something better. Many of us hold on to people, habits, or situations because we are afraid of the emptiness that comes after. What if I never find someone else? What if I regret this? What if I'm alone forever? These are the whispers that keep us stuck, holding on to something that is clearly damaging us simply because we fear the unknown. But here's the truth. You cannot receive what Allah has written for you if your hands are full of what He's trying to take away. You cannot step into the future He has planned if your feet are planted in the past He wants you to leave behind. And sometimes Allah takes away not because what you had was bad, but because what He wants to give you is better. But you can't see that yet. Imagine a child holding on tightly to a rusty old toy car. The parent tries to take it away, but the child cries, thinking it's unfair. What the child doesn't know is that the parent has a brand new shining car waiting to give them, but they can't hand it over until the old one is released. That's how we often are with Allah. We cry over what's leaving, not realizing something better is on the way. This applies to relationships too. Maybe Allah removed someone from your life who you thought was your future, your support, your happiness. At the time it felt like your world ended. But months or years later, you look back and say, Ya Allah, thank you for taking them away. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. We have all heard stories and maybe even lived them where losing something felt like the end, but it was actually the beginning. The job you didn't get that led you to a better one. The friendship that ended, which allowed you to grow in ways you never imagined. The rejection that saved you from a disaster you couldn't see. My brothers and sisters, Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He knows what you don't. He sees what's ahead when you can only see what's in front of you. When He removes something or someone from your life, it is never random. It is always for a reason. But here's the key. You only see the wisdom after you let go. If you keep holding on, if you keep chasing what Allah is pulling away, you are not just delaying your healing, you are delaying your blessings. And remember this, letting go does not always mean slamming the door. Sometimes it means accepting that something has served its purpose in your life and now it's time to release it with dignity. You can still make dua for them, you can still wish them well, you can still be polite, but you no longer let them occupy the space in your heart that belongs to peace and to Allah. When you let go for the sake of Allah, He promises to replace it with something better. It might be better people, better opportunities, better peace of mind, or sometimes the better is simply becoming a better version of yourself, stronger, wiser, closer to Him. So if Allah is asking you to release something today, trust Him. The hands that created you will never leave you empty. The heart that beats inside you is in His control. And whatever leaves your life for His sake is making room for something that will bring you closer to Him. And that, my brothers and sisters, is always better. And here's something important. My brothers and sisters, when you let go for the sake of Allah, you will often go through a silent period. This is the time when it feels like nothing is happening. When you're wondering, did I make the right choice? Was it worth it? This is the test. Because in that silence, Allah is working. He is rearranging your life behind the scenes. He is preparing the right people to cross your path. He is shaping opportunities you haven't even dreamed of yet. But He will not reveal them until your heart is ready to receive them. You see, if He gave you the blessing too soon while you were still emotionally tied to what He took away, you wouldn't value it. Or worse, you might misuse it. So He gives you a period of emptiness, not to punish you, but to detox you from what was harmful and to strengthen your reliance on Him. And this is where shaitan tries to pull you back. He whispers, go back, call them, reconnect, settle for less. At least you won't be alone. But don't forget, the emptiness you feel now is temporary. The emptiness you would feel going back to what Allah removed would be permanent. Letting go also teaches you something priceless, that you can survive without the people or things you thought you couldn't live without. And not just survive, you can thrive. That realization builds a confidence that no one can take away from you, because it's built on Allah's strength, not your own. And when the better comes, because it will, you will appreciate it more deeply. You will treat it with gratitude. You will see it for what it is. Not something you earned purely on your own, but something Allah chose for you at the right time, in the right way. So if you're in that stage of life where something or someone has been taken from you, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, an opportunity, or even a dream, don't see it as the end of your story. See it as a plot twist written by the author who knows exactly how to bring out the best ending for you. My brothers and sisters, the hands that take away are the same hands that give. And Allah never takes without giving something better in return, if not in this world, then in the next. So release your grip on what is gone, open your hands and let Him fill them with what will truly benefit you. And let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters, sometimes the better that Allah gives you is not even a person or a thing, it's you. Yes, you become the better. You become stronger, wiser, calmer. You stop tolerating what drains you. You start protecting your heart. You begin to understand your value in a way you never did before. You look back and think, if I had stayed where I was, I would never have grown into this version of myself. And this is why letting go can be one of the most merciful gifts Allah ever gives you, even though it rarely feels like it at the start. But here's where many of us go wrong. We want to heal while still holding on to the thing that hurt us. We want peace, but we don't want to leave the environment that keeps disturbing it. We want blessings, but we don't want to close the door to what's blocking them. My brothers and sisters, you can't do both. Healing and holding on to harm cannot happen at the same time. And don't forget, sometimes Allah tests you by giving you the chance to go back. The message isn't in the offer itself. The message is in whether or not you take it. If you've prayed for better, you have to trust Him enough to wait for it. Going back will only delay what you asked Him for. One day, when you are living in the better that you once couldn't imagine, you will understand why He took what He took. You will see that it was never rejection, it was redirection. It was never punishment, it was protection. And it was never loss, it was love. So the next time something is removed from your life, instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Try asking, what is Allah making space for in my life? Because that question will turn your pain into trust. And your trust will turn your loss into a blessing. And I know, my brothers and sisters, that sometimes you hear these words and they sound beautiful in theory, but in reality, the letting go still feels like it's tearing your heart apart. You might cry at night. You might feel restless. You might feel a heavy emptiness inside you that you can't explain to anyone. That's okay. Healing is not meant to be painless. In fact, that pain you feel is a sign that your heart is stretching to make room for what Allah is bringing you next. But don't confuse the pain of healing with the pain of harm. The pain of harm gets worse over time. The pain of healing gets lighter. The first one breaks you down. The second one builds you back up. And here's something powerful to remember. Allah does not just see your pain, He measures it. He knows every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you choose to trust Him when you could have gone back. And with Allah, nothing is wasted. That patience, that trust, that quiet surrender, it all counts, and it will all be returned to you in ways you cannot imagine. You might not see it tomorrow. You might not see it next week. But one day, you will look at the peace in your heart, the strength in your soul, and the blessings in your life, and you will realize, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I almost gave up on. So don't go back to what Allah has already rescued you from. Don't chase what He has already removed. And don't doubt His promise when He tells you that after hardship, there will be ease. Sometimes that ease doesn't come as a sudden change. It comes as a slow, steady, beautiful transformation. Letting go is not the end of your story. It's the end of one chapter and the beginning of a much better one. And the author of your life knows exactly how to write it. All you have to do is turn the page. My brothers and sisters, not everyone deserves your time, your energy, or your heart, but there are some people who absolutely do. These are the people who value you, respect you, and most importantly, bring you closer to Allah. You see, it's not enough to just cut off the wrong people. If you remove what's harmful but never surround yourself with what's beneficial, you will always feel empty. That emptiness will eventually pull you back into the same unhealthy cycles you were trying to escape. This is why it's so important to actively invest in the right people, the ones who will pray for you when you don't even ask them to, the ones who remind you of Allah without even giving a lecture, just by the way they live. These people are treasures, gifts from Allah. Ask yourself, who in your life leaves you feeling lighter, more hopeful, and more grateful after you spend time with them? Who encourages you to be a better believer? Who tells you the truth even when it's uncomfortable, because they care more about your akhirah than your temporary feelings? These are the people you need to keep close. Not just as acquaintances, but as trusted companions. And just like a garden needs water, sunlight, and care to grow, these relationships need to be nurtured. You cannot expect them to flourish if you give them no attention. Call them, check on them. Make dua for them by name. Celebrate their wins and be there for them in their trials. Because here's the reality, good people are rare. People who sincerely love you for the sake of Allah are even rarer. And once you find them, you should protect that bond like you would protect a precious jewel. But there's another side to this. My brothers and sisters, if you want such people in your life, you must also be that person for others. You cannot expect loyalty, kindness, and sincerity if you're not willing to give it yourself. If you want friends who remind you of Allah, you have to be a friend who reminds others of Allah. And let me tell you something, sometimes the right people don't look like what you expect. They may not be the most charming, the most popular, or the most fun, but they will be the most consistent. They will be the ones who show up when it matters. They will be the ones whose advice comes from a place of sincerity, not selfishness. But my brothers and sisters, you need to know this, even the best relationships require effort to maintain. Just because someone is good for you doesn't mean they will always be there if you neglect them. We often lose the most valuable people in our lives, not because they changed, but because we stopped appreciating them. Gratitude isn't just for Allah, it's also for the people He places in your path. If Allah sends you someone who strengthens your iman, who supports you in hardship, who celebrates your happiness without envy, that's a gift. And a gift must be cared for. One of the biggest mistakes people make is taking good company for granted while investing all their effort into chasing the wrong company. You spend hours trying to win the approval of those who couldn't care less about you, while the ones who truly care are left waiting for your attention. And slowly, They stop trying, not because they hate you, but because they realize you don't value them the way they value you. So here's a reminder, never make the people who value you feel like they have to compete for your attention with those who don't. If you're blessed with someone who prays for you in your absence, give them a place of honor in your presence. And remember, valuing someone doesn't always mean grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as listening without interrupting. Sending a small message just to say, I made dua for you today. Offering help without them asking, or showing up to support them even when it's inconvenient for you. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that the most beloved people to Allah are those who bring benefit to others. And sometimes the biggest benefit you can bring is just being a steady, sincere presence in someone's life. But be careful, even good relationships can be damaged if you allow pride, envy, or neglect to creep in. Protect these bonds from unnecessary arguments. Protect them from backbiting. Protect them from the influence of others who might try to plant seeds of doubt between you. Good company is rare, but it can be lost quickly if it's not guarded. My brothers and sisters, we live in a world where people are quick to replace each other, where loyalty is treated like an outdated concept, where friendship is often transactional. I'll be there for you as long as you can give me something in return. But the relationships worth keeping are not based on what you can get, they are based on what you can give for the sake of Allah. One of the clearest signs that someone values you for the sake of Allah, my brothers and sisters, is that they want what is best for you even if it doesn't benefit them directly. They are happy when you succeed, not jealous. They make dua for your happiness even when their own life is difficult. They correct you gently when you're wrong, not to embarrass you, but to protect you. Another sign is consistency. They don't only show up when you're winning or when they need something from you. They are there in your moments of joy and in your moments of heartbreak. They are there when everyone else has gone silent. A person who values you for Allah's sake doesn't keep score. They don't say, I did this for you, so you owe me. They give without expecting repayment because they know Allah will reward them far more than you ever could. And here's something important. Such people will sometimes tell you things you don't want to hear. They will remind you to pray when you're neglecting it. They will tell you to fix a wrong when they see you making a mistake. They will encourage you to leave what is harmful, even if you're attached to it. At the moment, it may sting, but later you will realize that they weren't pushing you away, they were pulling you closer to Allah. This is why you must never push away someone who sincerely advises you. In a world full of flattery and false praise, sincere advice is one of the rarest gifts. Now, my brothers and sisters, here's the other side of the coin. When you find these people, you have to work to keep the relationship pure. Shaitan will try to destroy good bonds by planting small seeds of suspicion or pride. He will make you overthink their words, misinterpret their intentions, or compare them to others. If you let those seeds grow, even the strongest friendship can wither. So protect the bond by communicating openly, forgiving quickly, and assuming the best about each other. Don't let distance, misunderstandings, or busy schedules make you forget the value of that connection. And never let ego stop you from saying, I was wrong, I'm sorry, or I appreciate you. The truth is, people who value you for the sake of Allah will push you to be a better believer, a better friend, a better human being. And when you invest in these relationships, you are also investing in your akhirah, because every reminder, every prayer, every act of kindness exchanged for Allah's sake will still be with you on the day of judgment. Once you recognize the people who truly value you for the sake of Allah, the next step is to actively strengthen that bond. Good relationships don't grow on their own. They need to be fed, nurtured, and protected. Start with dua. Make dua for them regularly, even when you're not in touch. Ask Allah to bless them in their health, their wealth, their family, their deen. Ask Allah to protect them from harm and guide them to what pleases Him. And here's the beautiful part, the angels will say Ameen, and the same for you. You're benefiting yourself while benefiting them. Next, be present in their lives. In a world where everyone is too busy, presence is one of the greatest gifts you can give. Show up for them in their moments of need. It might be attending a small family gathering when they invite you. It might be visiting them when they're unwell. It might be calling them just to ask, how are you really doing? Another way is through acts of kindness, not just the big, obvious ones, but the small, consistent ones that show you care. Send a message to check on them after you know they've had a hard day. Drop off a meal for them when they're sick. Offer to help without them asking. Sometimes the smallest act can leave the deepest mark on a person's heart. Also, be generous with your forgiveness. Even the best people will make mistakes. They might forget something important to you, say something in the wrong way, or hurt you unintentionally. If you hold on to every small offense, you will eventually push away even the purest hearts. Let the little things go. Save your energy for protecting the relationship instead of collecting grudges. And here's something many people forget. Share reminders of Allah together. Don't let your connection be only about worldly things. Invite them to attend a lecture with you. Share a beneficial video or article. Discuss something you learned from the Quran or a hadith. Make the remembrance of Allah part of your bond so that your relationship itself becomes an act of worship. Finally, be the kind of person they feel safe with. Safe to share their joys without you becoming jealous. Safe to share their struggles without you gossiping. Safe to share their flaws without you judging. Trust is like glass. Once it's shattered, it's never the same again. So guard their trust like a valuable treasure. When you nurture relationships like this, they not only last in this world, but they follow you into the next, because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that on the day of judgment, those who loved each other for the sake of Allah will be placed under His shade when there is no shade except His. As much as we talk about building these relationships, we must also talk about protecting them from harm, because even